The scrapyard on Outpost Theta 7 was where things went to die. Broken starships, obsolete AI cores, and the dreams of 1,000 failed colonists lay scattered across the rust-colored sand. Logan Pierce had made peace with that reality years ago. He was a mechanic, not a savior, and his hands were better suited to fixing engines than fixing lives. But the day he found Eric's changed everything. Logan had been salvaging parts from a crashed Valorian transport when he heard a sound somewhere between a whimper and a growl, fragile yet defiant. He followed the noise to a sealed cargo container, half buried in debris. The lock had been deliberately damaged, and inside, curled in a corner barely larger than a toolbox, was a creature he'd only seen in Federation warnings. A Draconis stellaris. A star dragon, except this one was wrong. Where the holovids showed massive scales gleaming with cosmic energy and wings that could eclipse moons, this dragon was no bigger than a large dog. Its scales were dull, patchy, and one wing hung at an awkward angle, clearly broken. Worse, its eyes, those ancient, intelligent eyes, held a resignation that made Logan's chest tighten. "Easy there," Logan said softly, crouching down. "I'm not gonna hurt you." The dragon, Eric's he'd later learned from the medical chip embedded in its neck, watched him with wary golden eyes. Most species would have attacked or fled. Eric's did neither. The creature simply stared, as if calculating whether this human was worth the effort of hope. Logan made his decision in that moment. He'd seen enough abandoned things in his life. The first week was chaos. Eric's wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, and certainly wouldn't trust. Logan researched frantically, learning that Draconis stellaris were empathic, bonding deeply with those they deemed worthy. But Eric's had been abandoned by its own kind, cast out for its mutation, a genetic defect that stunted growth and weakened its natural abilities. To Dragon Society, Eric's was worthless. Logan didn't see it that way. He started small. He'd sit near Eric's while working on repairs, talking about his day, about the ships he fixed, about the loneliness of the outpost. He never pushed, never demanded. Slowly, Eric's began to respond, a slight tilt of the head, a cautious step closer. And finally, one evening, as Logan welded a plasma conduit, Eric settled beside him, the dragon's small body pressing against his leg. That's when Logan felt it, a warm presence in his mind. Not intrusive, but curious. Eric's was reaching out telepathically, the way all star dragons did with their bonded partners. The images that flooded Logan's consciousness were heartbreaking. Eric's as a hatchling, rejected by its clutch. The Elder's cold judgment. The abandonment in that cargo container, left to die slowly in the void. "I got you now," Logan whispered, his hand gently resting on Eric's scarred head. "You're not worthless. Not to me." Months passed. Logan used every credit he had, calling in favors from xenobiologists and gene splicers across the sector. Most told him it was hopeless. Eric's mutation was permanent, irreversible. But Logan was a mechanic. He understood that sometimes things couldn't be fixed, but they could be improved. He designed a biomechanical wing brace using adaptive nanotech, allowing Eric's to fly despite the damaged wing. He synthesized nutrient formulas that strengthened the dragon's scales. Most importantly, he gave Eric something no one else had: unconditional acceptance. Eric's thrived. The dragon's intelligence was staggering. Within weeks, Eric's was helping Logan with repairs, using telekinesis to hold components in place, applying precision heat to welds with controlled fire breath. They became a team, and the outpost's other mechanics started bringing their impossible jobs to Logan and his dragon. But the galaxy doesn't let go of its legends easily. 6 months after Logan found Eric's, a Federation cruiser arrived at Theta 7. The captain, a stern Valorian named Casix, had a singular mission: retrieve the mutant Draconis stellaris, designated as Specimen X-77. The dragon was to be taken to a research facility for study, a polite term for dissection. Logan stood between Casix and Eric's in the scrapyard, his hands clenched into fists. "You're not taking them. It is not a them, mechanic. It is property of the Draconis Council, relinquished and recorded as deceased. We have legal authority." "Then your records are wrong," Logan said flatly. "Arix is alive, free, and under my protection." Casix's hand moved to her weapon. "You would start a war over a genetic failure?" That's when Arix stepped forward, placing their small body in front of Logan. The dragon's eyes blazed with an intensity that made Cassix hesitate. And then Eric's did something no one expected. The dragon began to glow. It started as a shimmer across the scales, then intensified into a radiant corona of energy. Eric's body lifted off the ground, wings spreading wide as cosmic power, dormant, suppressed but never absent, surged to life. The mutation hadn't made Eric's weak. It had simply delayed the dragon's awakening, compressing years of growth into a single, explosive transformation. When the light faded, Eric stood fully grown, magnificent and terrible, scales shimmering like galaxies, wings spanning the entire scrapyard. But the dragon's eyes remained fixed on Logan, filled with gratitude and love. Cassix's weapon clattered to the ground. Impossible. Eric's voice, ancient and resonant, echoed telepathically across the outpost. I am Eric's, once discarded, now awakened. This human saw worth where others saw waste. He is my bond, my chosen, and any who threaten him threaten the fury of the stars themselves. The Federation cruiser left without another word. Logan stood in the shadow of his friend, his partner, his dragon, and laughed, a sound of pure, disbelieving joy. Eric's lowered their great head, nuzzling against him with the same affection as when they were small. Guess you're not fitting in the workshop anymore, Logan said, grinning. Then we shall build a larger one. Eric's replied, warmth flooding the bond between them. Together, and so they did. The mechanic and the dragon, proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or weapons, but the stubborn, irrational belief that everyone, no matter how broken, how different, how abandoned, deserves a chance. The galaxy would soon learn what Logan already knew. Never underestimate what can happen when a human decides someone is worth saving.